everybody, and welcome to our Q&A session for Singapore's first ever Friso's Good Poop Advisory panel. And joining us today to share a little bit more is none other than Mr. David Naidu from Friesland Campina, Singapore, as well as our rotating panel of experts. We've got Dr. Christina Ong.
Hi everyone.
And none other than Miss Bibi Chia. Guys, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
An interesting topic and an interesting name. I have to say, I giggled a little bit when I first heard about it. David, you have to tell me a little bit more about this name.
You know, at Friso, we believe in the importance of good digestive health. And we think that good digestive health is fundamentally important for the health and well-being of young children. And that's why we wanted to engage parents in a conversation around this topic. We recognize that this is a bit of a challenging period of time. Therefore, we wanted to keep the content relatively light and tongue-in-cheek. Therefore, good poop.
Now, good poop, there's so many things about it, but just tell us a little bit more. What else is there to it?
Good bowel movement is an excellent indicator, probably the most visual indicator of a good digestive health. And I'm really delighted today to have Dr. Christina Ong and Ms. Bibi Chia to be in this panel to expound on their knowledge and insights on this topic.
I'm super excited to hear what you guys have to say about all of these topics as well. And speaking of the topics, we've got your questions that have been submitted around the topic of good digestion, and that's where we're going to start. And we'll direct this first question to Dr. Christina Ong. A lot of parents wondering about good digestive health in their children, and what are some of the signs and symptoms to look out for issues regarding their digestive tracts.
Digestion is the process whereby the body breaks down food into nutrients, which it then absorbs for energy, cell repair, and for growth. Studies have shown that the gut is not just important for the digestion of food, it is also important for metabolic processes and immune function of the body. Hence, maintaining good gut health is pretty important for a child's growth and development. Some of the signs and symptoms of poor digestion would include tummy pain, nausea and vomiting, diarrhea, constipation, and over a long period of time, poor growth, poor weight gain, and other medical conditions that could be present.
Now, I think every parent's big concern is when their kids start getting picky about food. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but my child gets very picky with her things, and I think this is a common thing that all parents worry about, right? Making sure that their children are eating the right thing. So we had a question from Jade ZTY. She shared that her toddler is actually a very picky eater, and I know that she's probably not got the only picky eater toddler out there. Bibi, maybe you can start by telling us if you've got any tips for this mummy when it comes to ensuring that the toddler has a well-balanced diet, and also tips for me, please.
Well, I think to begin, our diet should be filled with wholesome, natural foods, and as little additives and preservatives as possible, because that's what our body recognizes, and also filled with nutrients and vitamins and minerals. So this includes, natural wholesome foods from their diet, such as fruits and vegetables, lean protein from both animal and plant sources. And I guess, we want to make sure that they get enough fiber in their diet. So fruits and vegetables is important so that they get good gut health from all the good bacteria as well as the prebiotic.
How do you make vegetables taste nice? I just don't know. I'm at my wit's end with my daughter.
Well, I think there is, I think one of the things that I would like to tell parents is not to give up. And that's to continue encouraging them to eat vegetables. And us ourselves have to be role models. And that's to show them that we eat vegetables and that it can also be very delicious.
David, how about you then? You're a wealth of knowledge and experience in the food and child industry. Maybe you can share a little bit more. What are some of the things that parents should be taking note of?
I think another area that parents should take note of when it comes to selecting food is to consider where this food is coming from. So how it's produced, where is the food coming from, how is it sourced? And I think these are really important areas to look at, not just in selecting high quality food. At Friso, we're one of the few companies that have full control over the end-to-end chain. And I think that's very important moving forward, that parents need to consider the high quality produce that they're buying, but also to be expecting companies to be more transparent, more upfront in how the food is prepared.
And I think that's a really valid point. I think nowadays we're a little more woke about where we're getting our food from. And I think if we are being that cautious about what we are giving ourselves, then it should only translate to what we are giving our children as
Absolutely.
well. Right? Okay, now the next segment of our Q&A is, of course, regarding to poop. Lovely. Lots of fun things to talk about. Now, you won't believe the number of questions that we have had regarding this topic. Obviously, because when you first have a child, it goes from being black to being seedy and mustardy to all sorts of colors that you never thought possible. Trust me, I've been through the whole spectrum and it's weird. But like David, you mentioned earlier, it's not something that we should shy away from. You kind of almost have to normalize it, don't you?
Absolutely.
Okay, so then what is good and what is bad, and what should parents be looking out for? Dr. Ong, maybe you can weigh in on that.
Yes, definitely. Let's define what is good poop. Good poop refers to soft to firm poop that is painless to pass with minimal straining. Normal stool frequency will range from passing stools on a daily basis to 3 to 4 times per week. The Bristol Stool Scale is used to describe the different consistencies of the poop. Type 1 and 2 are referred to as hard lumpy stools that are difficult to pass. Type 6 and 7 are loose watery stools generally considered as diarrhea. Type 3, 4 and 5 are considered normal poops that are soft to firm in consistency and easy to pass. Apart from the consistency of the stool, it's also important to look at the colors of the stool. Generally, different variations of brown are considered normal stools, whereas if you do see bright red, black or white stools, it might indicate medical problems or internal bleeding, and medical attention is recommended.
Dr. Ong, thank you so much for explaining the difference in the size, shape and color. So it's great to know that we can see what's happening in the digestive tract and the gut when there is poop, but what about when there isn't poop? What can we do?
Most of the time when there's no poop, it is referred to as constipation. The most common time when we see constipation is usually during toddlers' toilet training time. Some of the tips for parents during toilet training would include ensure a good posture, keep the child's back straight with feet touching a flat surface. Take a squatting position so that the poop can pass easily. Set aside time every day, such as after meals, to create a routine for the child for the toilet training. And lastly, positive reinforcement is very important, such as in the form of a star chart, to encourage the child to keep trying and not to give up easily.
I think it's important to begin with giving them enough fluids. So a child from age 1 to 6 will need about 4 to 7 glasses of water a day. And what I would recommend is not to have large portions or large quantities of water together with their meals, because it can affect their appetite. And so just to make sure that they drink in between meals and throughout the day. And I think the topic that a lot of people would want to know more about is also how to make them more active, because having good physical activity will help to move the gut as well.
So moving on then, related to a lot of points that you had brought up, Bibi, parents face a lot of difficulty in getting our children to consume their greens, which is like what we said earlier on. How do we do that? But what can we do if our children aren't consuming them? And I will admit that my daughter probably doesn't eat as many green leafy vegetables as she should. So what can I do?
I think the first thing we can try is to make sure that meal times are pleasant, and to limit the amount of distraction there is in the home. That could be your smart device or the television. And I think it's to encourage them to try new foods. You have to place it in front of them more than 8 to 10 times before they might be receptive to it.
All I can think about is all the cooking that goes to waste.
Yeah, it's true. And maybe to start with smaller portions that they can feel confident to finish, and we can slowly, gradually improve or increase the variety and portions as we go along the way.
Dr. Ong, do you have anything to add to that?
Get your children involved in grocery shopping and food preparation to get them familiarized with these new fruit and vegetables. Try to incorporate these fruits or vegetables into their familiar foods so that they don't immediately reject them. Change the shape of the vegetables, make them more interesting so that it will be more appealing to these toddlers or children. And lastly, just to reiterate what Bibi has said, keep trying and not to give up easily.
Well, guys, thank you so much, David, Bibi, and Dr. Ong. Thank you so much for your insight. That wraps us up for this session. I've really enjoyed it, and I've learned a lot. Hopefully you guys who have been watching have learned a lot as well from this Friso Good Poop Advisory panel. If you've got any further questions, feel free to ask away. Come and join us on our website or get involved on our social media channels as well to stay up to date on all the latest information. But from us, it's goodbye. We'll see you again soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.